What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? I was gonna run. I said I walk today. At least, as long as I keep it moving, keep my blood flowing. Uh, you know, that's why I got, think about, just keeping my blood flowing, just keep going, you know. Again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Appreciate y'all for being in here. Hope you're having a great day. Hope y'all being productive on this Tuesday. Hope y'all staying focused on what y'all gotta do. Sometimes it's hard to stay focused. You have a lot on your mind, but stay focused. This week is end of this week gonna be the first week of the summer. Hope y'all having plans for the summer. Sometimes we can get disappointed. We may not have the funds to, maybe go on that dream vacation we always wanted. And that's okay, But, stay focused, stay consistent with what you're trying to do in life. And, eventually you'll get where you want to go. I think sometimes oftentimes get depressed because things don't work out the way they work out. It should work out in life. But stay laser focused on what you got to do. Stay laser focused on what you got to do, and things will happen for you. Don't like I always say, you listen to too many opinions. You wouldn't know where you should go. You don't know what detour you should take, what avenue you should take. But stay laser focused on what you got to do in life, because people want to try to take you off balance. But just keep going. Stay strong with what you're trying to do. Position you're trying to do in life, and keep going. Sometimes I wake up, it's hard for me to go and exercise, but just keep going. Sometimes I don't feel like running. I say, okay, I'm gonna walk this morning. Even though I may not feel like running, I'm gonna keep going. How you doing, Kirsturi? How you doing, Pookie? But yeah, just keep going. Don't fall off. Sometimes reality can be a thing that can hold us back. Reality, looking at reality, the things that's going on in our lives, it can hold us back from so many things, so many opportunities, that we have, because we look at reality and we don't see the impossible things that can happen in our lives, because we look so much at our situation. We don't have this, we don't have that, but gain all the knowledge you can about things and see what happened. Gain knowledge. My wife was in a situation, she wanted better for herself. She didn't take all these expensive schools and stuff, but she found courses that could get her where she needed to go in life, and she became successful in the field that she wanted to go in. And so, don't let things, situations, finances hold you back from what you really want to do. A lot of people let those things get in the way of what they really want to do in life, and they find themselves depressed because they regret that, oh, I should have did this, I should have did that. But just go forth, go forward in what you want to do. You may not have all the resources as far as the quality that you really want in things, but if people see your passion and that you have the drive to make things right, make things of high quality, people will see your gift and they will support your gift. They'll help you with resources to get where you really want to go. I think people are afraid to ask for help because they don't want to be judged. You know, they don't want to be judged in certain areas of their life. And so, you know, that's what happens. That's what happens. But, you know, just stay laser focused on what you really do want to do. You know, a lot of people can be turned off by the things they see on the news. You know, they see these celebrities going down, they're falling. But that doesn't necessarily have to be you. You know, if you make the right choices, be with the right people, you know, don't be pressured to do things that you know that will be a detriment to your life. And so, you know, just keep going with what you know and what you know is right. You know, stay positive. You know, don't try to take the shortcut. You know, we see people that try to take the shortcut in life. You know, they don't prosper. You know, so don't ever try to take the shortcut. You know, take the route that you need to take in order to become successful, and not only become successful, but sustain that, you know, that success, and you'll go a long ways. You know, a lot of people feel like they need to take shortcuts. You know, put in your mind that you don't need shortcuts. You know, you got to take the route that you feel is right. You know, and just, you know, it's a lot of, you know, uproar. You know, I'm in the music field. You know, tumbling with this AI music. You know, you know, nothing can replace humans. You know, human feel, you know, human emotion, as far as music is concerned. And so, you know, you gotta work hard at what you do. You know, you can't take shortcuts, you know, in order to get from the world what you put in, you know. So, you know, I just want to share those things. Again, appreciate y'all for watching, appreciate y'all for tuning in. But, you know, just got to stay consistent with what you do. You know, don't fall back on what you do, because, you know, people are watching you. You know, you never know who's watching you. The next generation is watching you and what you do. You know, I've been around kids, and they watch me intensely. You know, kids in the family. You know, I don't have kids of my own, but I've seen my nieces and nephews. You know, they watch intently what I do. And if I do the wrong thing, you know, they'll know. And so I try to be the best example I can around, you know, my nieces and nephews, in order for them to see a great example and know that I shouldn't do this, because my uncle, you know, he didn't go this way, you know. And so, you know, you just got to think about everything, you know, that, you know, the next generation is watching you and what you do, and the positivity that you give to the world, you know, what you contribute to the world, you know, how you make a difference in people's lives is very important, you know. But yeah, you know, like I said, I was gonna run this morning, but I said I'll walk and talk, because I really want to talk to you guys. A lot of things on my mind this morning, so I said I thought I'd walk, because if I run, I'm not gonna be able to talk like I am now. But you know, just stay focused on what you got to do in life. You know, stay focused on what you got to do in life in order for life to move on. You know, you don't want to move backwards. You want to continue to move forward. You know, even though you got laid off from that job, and I've told y'all my situation on this channel. You know, you got laid off from a job. You got to continue to move forward. And what you got to do, you know, look for better opportunities. You know, don't just settle for anything. You know, you got to move forward to great opportunities and see what happens, you know. So again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Appreciate y'all for watching. It's just, you know, so many things going on in this world. You know, we got AI, we got all this, you know, AI soon to take over a lot of people's jobs. You know, I even go to Taco Bell, they got AI people taking your orders, you know, and so, you know, that's the way the world is going. So you got to create opportunities for yourself. You know, don't just sit back and procrastinate. You know, you got to make ways for yourself. You know, so you know, again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Appreciate y'all for being in here. I hope y'all having a great Tuesday. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. But yeah, just stay focused on what you got to do and see what happens, you know, see what happens. All right, peace.